G'day viewers, well this project's almost complete with a little transformer. Got the wall outlet hooked up. I just need to find an enclosure for this stupid bloody camera. Taking a shit with memory card again. Anyway, I'm going to put a 5 amp fuse or circuit breaker in this thing for protection. And I'm going to just plug this into it and use it for small loads like whenever I get 110 volt only. Use it on here. I can plug Australian appliances into that. Dual rated or dual voltage rated stuff. Whether appliances 110/240 volt dual voltage compatible will plug in there on a little adapter, and I can earth it manually. Seems to be pretty common in Taiwan with appliances. I got my earth, got the Wago on there, the 3-way Wago, perfect. And it's a recycled wire from a Chinese rice cooker. High temperature wiring that, so I would encourage you to keep this sort of wiring at a little cheap Chinese heater appliances like that, because this high temperature rated wiring is good for the ZVS primary windings. You can get quite hot and the insulation stays relatively intact. So good cheap source of high temperature resistant sheathed wiring is in cheap Chinese cooking appliances. It's not finished yet, as I said. I got to re-lug these. Get some decent lugs to fit these screws, which is just for tests. This all works. LED lights up. I was given these ages ago. I think I did a video on these before. The other person who had this has obviously used this in Australia on 240 volts. Only 2 of the neons work. The rest of the neons are all black and burnt. So I've done a no-no there. A big no-no. You never ever plug 120 volt only rated stuff into a 240 volt socket. I remember on a tram in Melbourne, there was all these American girls talking about having their hair dryers blow up. They come to Australia, they plug their hair dryer in with these little adapters, not checking the voltage setting on their hair dryer. If it's 110/240 volt compatible, in this case they're 110 volt only units. They're telling us all these stories about their hair dryers blowing up. That's funny. As you can see here, 1, 2, the rest are duds. All burnt out. Only sort of works, but it's pretty black. They're black. Only 2 of these weren't used. The rest are all obviously used and blew up and burnt the neons out. But this was lucky to survive. She didn't. The girl that gave it seeds didn't use this on 240 volt because the LED's still working. These all still work. I've got to test those yet. I think I did test them on something else on a Variac and they worked. But there's a limitation to the frequency. As long as the appliance is dual voltage and frequency compatible, that's all that matters. This would be perfect for All American 5 radios too. There's an All American 5 radio at my local antique shop, but they want too much money for it. It's an typical series string 120 volt All American 5 from the late 40s. It's a little small, looks like an RC, but I think it's a Heathkit or something because it's not branded. But they want 125 bucks for it. It's a bit expensive for something like that. Should I buy that if it was cheap enough, like a lot cheaper than that, and I bought it? This has been a perfect example I could use it for, because I could fuse this, as I said, fuse the output of this. This would be perfect. Perfect. They got 2 good neons and the rest are dead, but I'm not going to pull 15 amp for this on this little transformer, but it's just handy for little things. As I said, it's going to be fused. Actually, I got a 5 amp circuit breaker off the air compressor. Yeah, that'll fit on there perfectly. When it's on, I put the 5 amp circuit breaker on the output when I put it on its enclosure. When it's all finished, I have the outlet here on the front of the enclosure, and I have a little pop button circuit breaker off the air compressor, but that motor has a 5 amp 125 volt 110 volt compatible breaker. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Pretty much got everything I need. The only thing I'm missing is the enclosure to put that transformer in. A nice little metal box. A little I have to look, keep my eyes peeled for that one. I want something that's just big enough to fit that in. Have the cord coming in, and this outlet will go on the front of it, and a little pop button circuit breaker. Perfect. So this is pretty much complete now. I just need to put it. This needs an enclosure. That's a bit warped. It's not perfect, but it smells fresh, freshly made. This one, made in Taiwan. I can buy these here in Australia, but why buy Chinese junk for almost 10 times the price, and I can buy this directly from the factory in Taiwan for less than half the Australian price. And this one's made in Taiwan and not some Chinese junk. Big advantage there. I always support Taiwan over China. Anyway, that worked out good. I know, actually, what I'm going to do, I'll do a test. Let's do a test. Non-polarised. This is polarised, but this isn't. I'll use that and I'll test this vacuum cleaner, do a current measurement. That'd be a good idea. This is all earth through the mains, but everything is earth here through the mains, except this one. I'm going to do it manually. This is just for a quick test. This is a double insulated appliance anyway, so it shouldn't matter. Should be okay. If I'm going to run something that actually needs to be earth, then obviously I won't use that adapter like that. I'll put a little plug in here where the clips will plug top with only the earth connected, and I'll just plug it into the earth. Should I need to test something that's dual voltage and it needs to be earthed, I'll get my clamp meter out and I'm going to do a current test on that transformer. See how much current that vacuum cleaner will pull at half its normal operated voltage. Typically you're going to pull twice the current if it's a 240 volt appliance. Half the voltage is going to pull more current, so let's try. Say 1400 watt vacuum cleaner. Yeah, my wiring is coming off. 2.6 amps, not too bad. As you can see here, I'm pulling more on the primary side. Now, I can't get the clamp meter on there, but 2.6 amps I'm pulling off that. Yeah, I've got to rewire this plug, put a little safety strain relief thing on there. Yeah, my wiring, I've got to get some proper lugs for that, but you can see it pulled 2.6 amps off this. Pretty handy to have. So I can readily run 10 volt appliances with a decent transformer now, so should I get some vintage stuff next time I go to Taiwan, maybe if I buy something in Taiwan that's old and it's designed for their voltage only, I can at least run it here in Australia. Things like induction motors, well, they'll run, but they'll run slower because of the frequency and they could run a bit warmer than normal. That's the only limitation, but other than that, we're pretty much good to go. I also got me a locally manufactured current meter too from Taiwan. I'm going to get a jigsaw and mount this in there. Perfect. Perfect. Jeez, not a bad manufacturer either. This is a pretty good company. I trust this one before. This is used mainly in other equipment around here, so use something that's trusted. Don't trust any of these sorts of things from China. This was surprisingly hard to find too. All I would find was the little tiny DC ones you can buy in J-Car, the normal little DC ones, and not anything like this. This was lucky to see this. I had to look very carefully for that. So I'm going to go on here on the BAZ, and you've got a voltmeter and the amp meter. Anyway, that'll be enough for now. Thanks for watching.